Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode from TCG353. Today we are playing the statistically best blue yellow Nami list that I could find on the sim. It has some interesting OP16 cards and is a very strong contender in the meta. As always, blue yellow Nami will continue to be good. OP16 is no different. Let's see how the deck plays. Up against one of the meta contenders is blue green Luffy. We are going on the odd curve. Our opponent plays a Jinbei out on their first turn and passes. I'm guessing that they don't have a Dazbones or a Banklei in hand, which is fortunate enough. However, they do search it there and they are able to play it out. While using their leader ability, they're able to play out a Dazbone, so I just ate my words there, I guess. However, our start has been very aggressive, that we were able to take a life off them early, and with the Nami that we pulled into, we were able to get another life off them and swing 6. So, good start so far. We're just selecting what card to trash here now, and I think Teach is the best move because freezing a card with the Gekomoria is pretty strong, and deploying something on board will allow us to counter their big board that they're eventually going to build up. Banklei is by far their most powerful card against us, so we are going to try our hardest to get rid of that. We're lucky there, we get the Corona trigger off top, so we can freeze the Dazbones so we don't have to give them any more counter that turn. We swing 5 into the Banklei and it goes. Here we don't have many plays. We could use we could play the Robin on curve, but that would then mean that we wouldn't actually have leader ability active. What we do instead is that we use the Zeus to KO the Galdino so they can't freeze something next turn, which is like very useful for us. They do still have a Banklei on board, which is a shame because they will be able to, with one down, swing 8k into us. But that's just one of those things. There's nothing we can do about that. We do have a blocker set up, so it's possible that we can, if we'd like to, give them a blocker rather than give them counter, but we give them counter instead. Having a Kamachi in life is actually quite useful. And here they swing into the Corona, we'll just take the hit and get the trigger off. They use the forecast crop to bounce a Banklei back to hand and play it out again, so we can't actually swing into the Banklei next turn, which is a shame. They use the Galdino on this turn. They've learned from their mistake last turn and they crack it immediately. So here we are just going to start swinging into the Dazbones, and I'm actually surprised that they gave that. I thought they would counter out at least first and then block out and then sort of go that way, but they don't, which is good. We don't add the Corona to the top life, we just deploy it down straight away. Because we want to, I think it's, no, we have a Corona in life. Oh no, we only have one Corona in life. So, yeah, deploying it could have been the move actually when I think about it, but it's I just wanted to freeze the Banklei immediately, so that's what we did. Our opponent is going to swing 8 into us here, and we're just going to trash a Corona and take the hit. Maybe they want to swing with the crop now and set the blocker sideways. Probably wouldn't recommend that in all fairness because we can go quite aggressive next turn, so they don't. That's something they choose not to do, which is clever of them. Here we have the idea to we can either heal or we can use the Nugate for a big blocker. Now they will have the Boa to be able to go unblockable, and if they have, say, a broken hand, then they can swing big in certain ways. So it was debatable here. Maybe healing was better, but for the moment, this is how we played out. We'll swing 7 first into their life. The last one they gave us 3k for, and that's when they took. We get our leader ability and draw into another Robin, which isn't too useful for us because we don't really need that, and we keep the marker standing for a blocker. So if they do play with the Brook, for example, they can only rest one blocker. Our opponent's thinking here. I'll just try to give you a summary of what's happening on the board. If they play with the Brook, they can only rest one blocker. They do have other cards to rest, but there's a chance that they won't have it in hand. They do. So they play out a 2-cost Baldino, which can arrest 4 costs and below, I believe, and they play out the Brook. And the thing with the Brook is okay, so we get an AK into life. Let's just comment on this first before we start talking about it too much. Our opponents makes 8 into our life here, and now they want to attach 2 down onto the boa, which would be 11, and we are just lucky enough that we have counter for that. If we don't have counter for that, what happens is our opponent cracks the Brook and then sets 2 down active from the Impel down ability, because they still only have Impel down characters active, and then swings 13. So we were very, very lucky there to have the right amount to counter, but it looks like we pulled into the right amount to counter anyway. Nami's just really, really strong and defensive. Our opponent asked for a rematch here, so this is the same opponent we're up against again. I thought he was a good player, so definitely wanted to run these games back. And it looks like they've hit their absolute perfect curve at the start. They play out as Bones, set 2 down active, and play out a Bong play as well. Once they see a Bong play on the board, they're pretty happy. Same with us though, we have a girl on the board now, so we can play cards on curve while also being able to attach a Restodon, which is very useful for us. We're selecting a card to trash, and we go with the Dr. Hogback. Here we are lucky again that we get the 5-cost Nami, so our opponent takes a life into hand, and we attach Restodon with Nami, attach Restodon with Girl, so we swing 7 into our opponent's life, and they actually take that as well. So I'm guessing they don't have counter in hand, because they're countering out 2k and 1k would be much preferred to what just happened there for them. Opponent swings 5 first, and we're just going to trash a Hogback. We get a Robin from life, which is really good. And our opponent plays out a Buggy and plays over the Luffy. So now they have totally unique names on the board, which is good for them. We take another ability, or we take another hit, and we KO the Galdino. Now it could have been useful there to KO the Buggy, but I didn't want them to freeze the Nami, because I wanted to be able to guarantee removing this bond play off the board. So that was the reason we made that choice there. Played a 7-cost Robin, drew a card, and attached a Dom with Girl. That's what happened in the last turn. Here we consider trashing the Zoro, but first we'll just take the first hit and see what happens. We'll nullify the effect of Daz Bones and KO Buggy. Now, also nullifying the effect of that Daz Bones means if it's just a 2000 power body on the board now. Really, really useful there. The nullify actually comes in clutch. If you watched the Black Yellow Teach video I did yesterday, you realize that there's a lot more nuance to the nullify than what you'd have thought initially, or what I thought at least, because I made a lot of mistakes yesterday. Here what happens is we start swinging into their bodies. The reason we're doing that is because they have 1 done up, so they clearly have a 3k event, or maybe they have they clearly have a 3k event, and that only protects leaders. Going aggressive into the board as well stops them having the ability to use the event that is so aggressive for this Impel Luffy, which is another reason why we're going into board. Getting Buggy off the board is the last reason why we're going into board. Getting Buggy off the board is really useful as well, because it making an Impel down blocker every turn is just really annoying, to be honest. Here our opponent makes a mistake. Definitely they swing into the Nami, and we have a Borsellino in hand. So we play the Borsellino for free and heal a life and set a blocker up, which is just unbelievable for us. And here we have a 10-cost negate in hand. So playing the 10-cost over the Nami is the absolute ideal play. We're going to trash with Brick from hand, which is the Teach. Here we swing 7 into Buggy. There is a trend here. We do want that Buggy gone, especially now that they have the full set up of their board. And we're going to swing 8 with our Borsellino. We draw a card and we just let that go. Here we have 3 life. We're in actually a very good spot. We have 3 blockers up. They do have an unblockable, so they can set the unblockable up twice. If they do choose to do so, that would be totally fine, and our opponent just concedes. There aren't that many lines that they have. Every card that they have in hand is a card that they already own, so they can't use the leader ability or the event ability. And if they use another boa, to be honest, they could use another boa, but I'd probably win in the crackback next turn. So they conceded, which is wise enough. Let's go into the next game now against Red Ace. Our opponent plays that card that allows them to draw a card, plays that card that allows them to draw a card, and we know that they have that 6-cost rush card that KOs 2 characters with 2000 power or less, I believe, which I presume we'll see on curve because them getting rid of the girl is very good for them. They play out the Luffy. We are lucky enough that we're able to get them to take a life with the Nami, and we can swing 7 here, so we ask for 2 cards out of their hand, not just 1, with the Luffy ability. Here we are going to be going into our 7 on turn next, so we will consider how we want the turn to go by. We know that they're going to play that 6-on card on curve. Okay, they didn't. That was a surprise actually. We were expecting that, however, they are able to use the Luffy as it only costs 2 Don because they have a powerful card on the board. We draw and they rush into us and we take that hit. With that hit, we get a girl from life and we play that out to filter our hand and attach 2 rested Don to our leader. We'll swing 7 at our opponent's leader and they use the Luffy ability. And here we pivot and we swing 8 into their Luffy and 9 into their Luffy. So we're asking for 2 cards out of hand both times to get 1k, which they don't have. Now they have that rush card on the board, which is fairly good for them. Now we don't take that hit with Nami. Probably could have, in all fairness, like it didn't make that big of a difference. We just wouldn't get the Borsellino heal off, that's all. So we don't take that. But I think playing out a 6-cost could have been useful there. It's hard to know 100%. Here we play out the Gecko, put a Kamachi on top for life, and attach it down to leader for leader ability to come online. So that's 6 and 6 we give to our opponent, and they trash a brick with one of those trash events for 3k counter. It's definitely looking like our board state is more advantageous here, though you have to consider with this Red Ace that they always have the ability to play, especially in the late game, to play 8-cost Newgate, which allows them to go double attack and effectively remove a card from the board if it is turned sideways. Here they swung incorrectly, definitely. They should have swung 8 and 8, but they swung 5, and because we use leader ability, they couldn't swing 5 again. Here we're considering what to trash. We actually trashed the Robin. The reason we did that is because next turn we're going to go for game, so we don't need setup. We just need big bodies, pretty much, or we just need counter. We trash the Zoro as it's a brick, and we give them a 2k. And we get a teach from life. That teach isn't useful at all, really, so we don't need to use it. And here they play out an ace that allows them to search and make 8,000 power characters in their hand, 2,000 counter. They also play out a Luffy who will allow their leader to become 7k power. We block out of their last one. We swing 10 into their 5 and our opponent concedes. So with the leader ability, they had 8k counter in hand, which they could have used 3 cards there, and yeah, 3 cards there, and then we would have had game. So good game for them. Red Ace seems to be a deck that you can beat handily enough if they don't see their curve, and by curve I mean if they don't see that 8-cost Newgate, and if they're not able to remove your board effectively. I'd like to try that deck. I don't know if you guys are interested in it at all. I'd like to try it just to see if it's really good, because at the moment when I come up against it, I don't know if I've lost to it yet. Here at the start, we're up against Luffy and Ace, which is a deck that actually is extremely strong in my opinion, and plays quite unique, super aggressive, with very cool cards. On our first turn, we played Girl out and attached a Don and attached another Don, so now we're on a 5 Don turn. Fortunate enough to get Nami on curve, we get 2 of them actually. And here we are going to swing 7 into our opponent's 6. If they take this, that just means they have absolutely no counter in hand, and that's exactly what happens. They have absolutely no counter in hand. They played out a Galdino, which is a 2k. It's a very useful utility 2k, but still it's just a 2k. They use Monkey D. Luffy, which freezes a Don from us next turn, so we can't actually play the Robin out on curve now, which we were looking forward to doing. They have a blocker and they have the Boa, which they crack. It allows them to put 2 Don onto their leader, which is fine to us, to be honest. And here at the start of the next turn, we are going to freeze it on, which is still actually very okay. We use the sword to heal, and we are going to, since we triggered out the Hogback, we can swing 6, 6, and 7. That is a pretty good sequence. However, our opponent does have this event that allows them to KO at 2000 power or less, so the girl is gone. Swing another 6, see what our opponent does. They give us 1k counter there, and we'll swing a 7. See what they do, and they take here, which is just a really bad sign for them. It's a really bad sign, because right now they have potentially 3 swingers on the board. Something to note about that Galdino that my opponent just found out themselves, and I also just found out, is you can rest the character and you give 2 rested Don to 2 of your characters of 6,000 power. Like, it can't be more, it can't be less, it has to be 6,000. So only the Luffy was able to get 6,000 power there, and we were able to counter out of all of that nonsense. We'll swing 6 into our opponent just to poke. The idea for us here is to just use Robin and heal, but there's no need. Our opponent's hand is totally bricked up, which is good for us, bad for them. They could have used a blocker and then probably would have healed, and the game would have went on a little bit longer, in all fairness. So I think, they could have stuck out with it a little bit more, but chose not to. Let's talk about this Black Yamato game now. This is a good game from what I remember. Our opponent is a good Black Yamato player, and it has, it's an interesting game. I won't say much more. Here we are considering on what to do. We can attach 4 onto leader, swing 9, or we can swing 5 and play down a Perona. We choose to play down a Perona because I just want a bit of board pressure, and of course our opponent would want to play out cards on their turn as well, and that's what they do. They probably could have swung 6 into us, but if they did, we would have just given them 2k, so that's all right. We gave them a 2k anyway, sure, so it was all the same. Here we'll swing 5, really hoping that they take this hit, but they don't. We'll use the Nami, so our opponent takes a life to hand, and we'll attach an additional dot, so we'll swing 7, and on that turn we are able to get 2 life off our opponent, which is very strong. Now currently they have a 5 swing, they have a 7 swing, and they have a what's the last one? An 8 swing. That's how it's looking so far. They choose to use the Akasiam that allows them to take a card back to trash, and they take I believe it's a 2k counter. Oh no, they take the 2 god blocker from trash. So for this turn, we are going to, I believe it's an 8 on. No, we were on our 8 on turn there, so we just attached it onto leader and used the Nico Robin. Nico Robin knows us to draw as well, so it's quite useful. So we swung 2 6s and we healed a life. slowly whittling down our opponent's hand size, which is actually quite large at the moment. We're thinking on what card to trash, and we choose a Gecko. We do still have top end, so we're happy with that. I choose to keep the Zoro in hand, actually not for this reason at all. We got very lucky here. It was actually to use a Borsa and the Zoro turn if that did have to come up at some time, if we wanted to double heal. Now, since our opponent swung into the Nami, we were able to use the Zoro and trigger that out and trashed a Hogback, so a Triller Bark in hand. And we are okay in taking that hit there. We pull into a Baby 5, which allows us to draw 2 cards. Opponent swings 8 now, I do believe. And we are likely to take that. Swings another 8, and we'll use the 2k we just got from life there. Here we either have the new gate to use, or we have the A-cost Peach. We are going to swing with Robin first to see what our opponent does, and because they used the blocker initially, we're actually going to use the Peach. So that is a 7 swing, our opponent gives us 2 and a 1, and an 8 swing, and they give us the blocker, which is actually very nice for us now. Opponent does have 4 swings, and they choose to swing into the Zoro first. And here, you can let me know in the comments whether or not you think these are sort of misplays here, but I do endeavour to protect the Zoro, because I think we have a good chance of lethal with it next turn. Our opponent uses the trash ability to get a Yamato out from search at the start, and from the way it's looking here, we actually can protect the Zoro fully, but we'll have no cards in hand. I choose to go with it. I'm not too sure why. We'll give him a blocker at the end here. And our opponent, with their last swing, swings into Zoro, and we give him a 2k and a 2k. It's only 1 card in hand, a bit sketchy. So we are sort of in a position where we do want to go for lethal here. We'll swing 8 first. See what our opponent does. Our opponent takes, and here you will see the biggest blunder of the game so far. So rather than going fully in and just committing to going for lethal here, we choose to attach 2 down to Zoro in case we do want to use the Teach. Now we can use the Teach, but we wouldn't be able to use leader ability then, and I think if we don't have leader ability up, we're pretty much dust. So we choose a different line, which is the best of the bad situation, I guess, and that is to just swing 11 into one of their bodies and get a blocker off them. Leave 2 down up for no reason at all, and just hope that we're able to get something. So that was a massive error there. And as such, we let the Zoro go next turn because I don't even want to look at it. It's just not a good card in my eyes anymore. We get a trigger of the Teach off life, but that does nothing for us, so we'll leave it go. One swings 9 into us next turn, and we take again. So we have 3k counter in hand and 2k from leader ability, and here they get the unblockable setup, and now our opponent swings 9. And if they had swung 10, they would have won, but they swung 9, which is just lucky for us, I guess, very lucky. And they don't swing with their last Yamato because there's no point. Now, the line we go for here is 9, 12, and 14 for the game. And the 12 goes through, I think. I hope it does. And we get the 14 to finish. I'm including this game because I made a big mistake, but also our opponent made a big mistake as well by leaving 1 down up. They would have won if they had attached 2 down to the unblockable, and I would have guaranteed 1 if I only attached 1 down to Zoro. So back and forth, misplays. There you go. Lots of learning in this game. I hope you're enjoying it so far. Let's talk about this Red Shanks game now, and it is the last game of the video. So if you're still with me up to this point, thanks so much for watching, and let's talk about it now. We are on the odd curve. We use the Young Girl initially, and what Young Girl does is allows us to discard a card from hand. We discard the Hogback because we want to set Triller Barks up into our trash. Opponent swings 5 into us there, and we just take To be honest, I was hoping for a Thriller Bark trigger so we can play that out and just get aggressive at the start. We weren't lucky enough, unfortunately, but we do have a nice play with the Marco next turn. We have a better play with the Nami, which will allow us to swing 7 into our opponent, asking for leader ability on a 2k or the blocker. If we could get another Nami, we'd be very, very happy about that, because it would allow us to be even more aggressive next turn. We get a 5k swing into us, and we just give leader ability here, and with that we use a Robin. Robin allows us to draw and heal a life. We'll use the girl, attach it on to our leader, swing 6, and swing another 6. See what our opponent does. I presume they're going to give us either leader ability in a 1k or 2k, and it's leader ability in a 1k. Now here they do have the law on the board, but both of our characters are really hard to swing into. Like that Nami there. And what we do is we consider which card we want to use. Do we want to heal a life with Zoro, or do we want to play out the Marco? And we choose to play out the Marco. It seems like our opponent misclicked when they minus 2000 power to the Robin because it's not sideways, so they can't swing into it. However, you'll see something in a second that will help you realize what the importance of Shanks is in this deck. We're going to trash the Zoro for leader ability, and our opponent plays Ben Beckman, which trashes the Robin, allowing them to KO it without activating Beyond KO, so they didn't have to take any damage. Here on this turn, we are going to swing 6 with the Marco first up, straight off. See what our opponent does, gives us a 2k, and here we'll use the negate to set a character into life. There isn't much value in there, to be honest, so we're just going to set the negate there and attach a Don to the girl and another Don, so swing 7, and our opponent uses their leader ability and a 2k to get out of that swing. Now our opponent does still have that blocker, but whenever they swing into us and we take, we'll be able to KO that blocker quite easily. We've ended our turn, so we're just waiting on our opponent now to set their Don for the next turn. Our hand is looking quite nice because we have a lot of top end. And we're coming into the later stages, so we're on, I believe, our 10 Don turn next. So it's just going to be negates from here on out, which allows us to draw 2 and trash 1 and filter out our hand a little bit more. If our opponent chooses to swing into the Marco, then we'll draw 2 cards, so we'll have even more cards in hand. Here our opponent drew a card and drew 2 Don. They're on their 10 cost turn now, which is what Shanks loves to do in OP16 because they have this Ben Beckman card that allows them to rest it on. So it's a 5 cost card, you rest it on, and you can play out a Shanks card from hand if you have 10 Don on the field. So for 6 Don, they can play out a 6k blocker and a 10 cost Shanks set. The worst case scenario for us would be if they played out Ben Beckman into a KO Shanks and they were able to KO the Blackbeard. That would suck, to be honest. Our opponent swings 7 into our life and we get a counter for that. The reason we countered that one there is because we actually want to save the ability for the Ben Beckman, which we knew was going to come down. A bit of a misplay here. So if I had nullified the Shanks and it has Rush, I wasn't sure if it would nullify just the minus 1000 power or if it would nullify Rush. I should have nullified it just to see if that would have affected it, but I was just kind of brain farting all over the place. Played out to Newgate and we trashed a Hogback. Our hand is looking really, really nice now. We have the 2 Bourses if it does go later on and we need to double heal. And we also have the girl to allow us to attach the rest of down, so we swung big there. You notice there we left the Newgate standing. The reason we did that is because we want to go for lethal next turn. We don't want to turn it sideways because the Shanks will be able to KO it. So going for lethal there is best. I presume they have another Shanks because all these Shanks seem to have all the Shanks in hand. So if we turn the Newgate sideways and we blocked, for example, and countered, then they probably would have another rush card to be able to take them. They also have the law, which combines 2000 power. So really, it just would have spelled disaster for us if we did that. We're just going to take the first hit and see what we get. I'm not fortunate enough to get a trigger, which is a bit of a shame, but not the end of the world. We still have leader ability on them. Our opponent Raw plays down that 9-cost Shanks, which is cheaper in hand if your opponent is Red Hair Pirates or if you have a high powered body on the board already. I forget what the conditions are, and it makes your leader 7,000 power. So our opponent is now 7k power. They attach 2 on and swing 9,000 into us, and we take the last swing as well. And we are very lucky that we take that because we are able to KO their blocker. And so here, because we've taken so many swings last turn, we are very much incentivized to go for game. First swing is going to be 9. We'll see if our opponent has counter for that, and they do. They have leader ability and counter. And we swing, what is 12k here into their life. 12k or 13. We could have done 12 and 14, which is what we went for, or we could have done 13 and 13. Then 12 and 14 was a bit better, but it seemed like a risk at the time. And we get the win. It was actually quite dominant, to be honest. Maybe if we nullified that rusher, that would have been interesting to see if they could have rushed or not. And obviously we did get quite lucky with the Blackbeard trigger at the end, but that is the nature of this deck. You have triggers in life, so at times you get the perfect trigger at the perfect time. If we didn't get that trigger off at the end, would we have won? It would have been a different split, but we would have definitely still gone for game, and our opponent only has 2k counter in hand. So I probably would have ended up swinging with the Nami as well. The Nami in hand, so it probably would have looked like 7. Yes, I actually don't know. I don't know if we would have won. I don't think we would have. So thank you, Blackbeard, for that trigger at the end. Thanks very much for watching, everybody, and I hope you did enjoy this video. I am posting daily, so if you do want to watch more, consider subscribing and comment, please. I love hearing from you guys always, and really enjoying this community that we have going. So without talking too much more, thanks so much, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye now.